the Enviroscape. That teaches all the kids how pollutants run down into our groundwater. And we use different products, sprinkles, hot chocolate or cocoa, and different things like that to make the pollutants. And when you squirt water on it, all the kids squirt water on it, and it shows how it runs down into our rivers and into our water base, into the ground.
So this is called an Enviroscape, which represents the landscape of our environment. And it's pretty much a complete community here. And we talked with the children about the fact that this is a watershed, and water over here drains down, water over here drains down, and it all ends up in this water body. And that what you do over here can affect the water body over here. Let's talk first about the factory over here, and there are laws that determine what they can do with their waste. And so we're going to put some waste. Now, it wouldn't be on the roof, actually,
sure,
but that's representing here. We also have a sewage treatment plant here, and laws govern what they do with their waste. And our final point source pollution, in other words, this would be a direct polluter. This would go directly into the stream, And our third example is this guy over here has just finished changing his oil, and he dumped all the oil he changed into the storm drain, which would go directly into a stream somewhere. So those three are examples of point source pollution. We don't have much control over that. But as volunteers who care about the environment, we can have a lot of control over the non-point pollution. So we're going to start way over here. What do you think's going on in this corner?
Is he just digging up dirt?
That's right.
He's just digging it.
You know, it's right next to this subdivision here.
Maybe he's got trash.
It's a construction site, and so we have exposed dirt over there. And if we move here, we have our forest. Now, it's a pretty puny forest because they've been cutting down a lot of trees, and that has left a lot of the land exposed. And the dirt is open to the elements there. Coming back over here in this corner, we have our farm. The farmer has tilled his ground, and so the dirt is exposed again. And then we have some other areas where there's not good vegetation. On the side of the lake shore here, and along this ditch where the soil is exposed. Okay, so that's one example of some problems. Now, behind here, you see we've got a little golf course. Well, I want my grass on my golf course to be nice and green, so what do I need to do?
I'm going to fertilize it.
Okay, all right, we'll stop with that. Okay, here comes our fertilizer. There we go. Now, can you see any other areas that you might want to fertilize?
My lawn.
Okay, fertilize those lawns. Anywhere else that needs fertilizer in our community?
In front of my business where I want my people to look good.
Well, sure, we can do that. I don't know that our Department of Transportation does that, but we could. And the last area?
And maybe where the cows are so they can eat grass?
Sure. And there might be some natural fertilizer there we'll talk about in a bit. Does the farmer need any fertilizer?
Yes, if he wants to grow his crops.
That's right. Okay, so we fertilized everything. It's growing nice and green, but I see some patches in my lawn that don't look very good. What could be causing that besides the drought we're having?
Maybe some bugs.
Some bugs. And what would I use to kill the bugs?
Some pesticides.
Pesticides. All right.
Or some weeds, maybe.
Okay. Pesticide on the golf course. Pesticide on my lawn. Would the farmer need pesticides?
Sure.
Okay. Very good. Let's go back to our cows. You mentioned them earlier in the fertilizer. So what kind of natural fertilizer might result?
Well, since they eat grass, they got to process it. It's got to come out the other end.
This is true.
So
okay.
They're probably going to
we
go
have
on the lawn.
Some little examples of manure, but we might have some poop from the dog.
Waste
That's
in
right.
The yard.
We could have that. Okay. Now, all of these people who are living in the subdivision and on the golf course, they need to take care of their lawn. And so they have grass clippings. And here come the grass clippings. And you know what these people do? They blow it out into the street.
Sure.
That's what we see. Okay. We have grass clippings. Now, the people who are driving on our streets cause some problems on the road that relate to pollution. Have you ever noticed in a parking lot those big black areas underneath the car in the parking space? Do you know what causes that?
Dripping oil?
Dripping oil. Now, all cars drip a little bit of oil, but if you see a big pile under your car, you're going to fix it. But even these cars that are going down the road are dripping a little bit of oil. Now, the last thing, maybe, this guy driving down the road is not very careful. He's throwing litter out his window. Oh. And here comes the litter. For instance, if we let this sit out here for about 3 weeks, do you think this lake would still be here?
No, it's too hot.
It would evaporate, and that water would form the clouds in the sky, and then they would condense, and then if the droplets get too heavy, it comes back as rain. Okay, so you are going to be the rainstorm.
Okay.
So here is your bottle of water. Okay. Now, it probably works better, and we're going to let Hannah be a rainstorm too, okay, in the interest of time.
Sure.
If you hold it, doesn't have to be that high up, but you want good mist. All right, and we'll notice what happens on the road, the oil on the road. The litter is getting washed into our streams. The dirt in the construction area is washing down the road, actually. And you can see that is going directly into the stream, and you can watch it come down the stream into our lake. The fertilizer from the farm has flowed into the lake. The dirt from the side of the forest, the dirt from the side of the ditch. Let's see what else has gone. So now, we have had a great deal of rain, and the things that we talked about in each area have not necessarily stayed there. No. The grass clippings that were up here have washed down. The litter has washed off of the roads. The manure didn't wash too much yet, but let's talk about how those have affected our lake. Our lake doesn't look too attractive anymore. For one thing, you remember how nice and clear it was that sunlight could go through? Have you ever heard if you wear a dark shirt, it absorbs more heat? Well, now our lake is much darker, so it's going to absorb more sunlight, raise the temperature, which affects the way life, plants, and animals in the lake can survive. The cows, and maybe even your pet poop, which might have washed through the watershed into this water body, contribute bacteria to the lake. It might mean that if you were to swim in the lake, you might get an infection. It can also kill the microorganisms that help the life of a lake. The guy over here who was doing his oil change also got out there and scrubbed his driveway. And he used some toxic materials for cleaners. Those have ended up in the lake. This might affect the reproduction and the ability of the fish to lay eggs. Now, all of these things, as I said, are either point pollution, they went directly into the water, and we have no control over that. Those are regulated by laws. Or they're non-point pollution, and we, as good citizens, have to take care of that. Like over here, what could we have done in the forest to keep the dirt from going into the water?
Maybe plant more trees or plant some grass.
Good, okay. Over here on this construction site, I bet, we got some construction going on now. What might help keep that dirt where it belongs?
Maybe a silt fence.
Sure.
Or some of that spray grass stuff.
Okay. What about the oil changing going on here?
Well, I know that they can go somewhere and have it done, and they recycle that oil, but never dump it out, put it back in the container and take it to recycling.
Right. I think there are a lot of places that take that. Today, the students who come through here are going to get litter bags, so maybe they can tell their parents to put that in their car and take care of the litter. All right, what about our farmer over here? and even the golf course and the lawns as far as the fertilizer?
I guess they could use natural fertilizers, like look into that, and maybe reuse water, keep your crops rotated, or...
Right, and we're not saying the fertilizer is bad. It's like incorrect use or excessive use of the fertilizers. And the same thing with the pesticide. You know, be sure you're reading the labels and following the instructions.
And of course, we don't want to throw litter out of the car.
No, we definitely don't.
We don't want to throw litter out.
So what we have seen here is that we had a nice community, and that there are some things that have happened that we can control as good citizens.
All right, thank you, Nancy.
Okay. You guys have these lovely thoughts. You have a second. All right, Hannah. Here we go. There we go. How about that?
So what do you feel like?
Yeah, it does. It's like, well, it's fun.
This is the beginning stages of an edible aquifer. We have our rocks in our cup, and we're going to put some clay formation and some soil formation. We're going to simulate that by using a nice scoop of vanilla ice cream. So that is our earth portion of it. We want to add some stones, some more rocks as well.
Like surface rocks?
Like surface rocks. Put some surface rocks on there. And as also on the aquifer, we know that in our environment, a lot of people like to throw things on the ground, and that's litter and pollution. And we'll use some sprinkles as a simulation for that as well. And on an aquifer, when it rains, the water will pass through these stages of rocks, sand, clay formations, and pass through another layer of rock. It gets down to where the water is actually stored. And by the time that it gets down there, it's clean. It's clean enough to be able for you to consume it. A lot of the water that come out of aquifers are actually used in irrigation in our region. But we're going to put the water in it. Got a little overflow on that one, but that's okay. If you'll notice at the bottom here, how it's passed through these stages and it's clear down here, okay? And that is the water that winds up at the bottom of the aquifer. And now the best part of the edible aquifer is that once you've built it, you get to eat it.
And it's tasty too.
There is the edible aquifer.
And it's tasty too.
We're making an edible aquifer.
Luckily, because it works this way in the real world, our water's clean at the bottom where it comes back up.
There. No, tastes good. Oh, you put ice.
I made one for you.
What do you think?
It's good.
What do you think, guys? How's it taste? Good. That's what I'm talking about, isn't it? It surprises you.
Okay. Come right here, Josh. It's not a picture. What are you telling me?
You have the right to remain silent.
What this represents here is a storm drain. And what we're showing is when you just like toss your bottles out or any trash out and everything like that, and it rains, when the water starts to go down the storm drain, it all collects in here. It's gonna go into the water supply. So y'all gonna take turns going through the.
Not to get the the trash.
Yeah.
All of them?
No, not all of them. Just get like one thing. Just 8 feet.
Alright, what's gonna happen? Water bottle?
Who's next? Come on, hurry up. Yeah. Look at that, Josh.
I'm going to get everybody a bracelet. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different colors that's going to be represented on these bracelets. And this is what the bracelet's going to look like. So what you've got is you have your light blue, which represents the water that's being heated up. You've got your yellow, which represents water in the sun. You have your clear, which represents water in the atmosphere. You have your white for your clouds, and your dark blue for the rain, for your rain that comes. This is what you're going to do. You're going to do see all the different colors. If you can do it however you want, but if you want to do all the different colors, or you want to put the colors together. Everybody's going to get one of these, and you can put your beads on there.
Oh yeah.
You pass those down and just kind of scoop a little bit out of each one of those. Just scoop them with your hand. Did I say the clear beads were for? Do y'all remember that one? That's right. There you go. Okay, so put this on here, Dana. Okay. I'm just going to kind of put some out on the table so y'all can have a little bit of it.
Yeah, just one.
No, we don't need that many.
Here. Do you want to make one? And look.
Okay.
Get one.
Do you have
and then watch.
Are you right? I'm sorry. No. There you go. Here, look at it. And here's you got some whites. Thank you. Okay, if you got your Tootsie Rolls and you want to make a bracelet.
Fake food. We pick the food. Pick up the food. And they line up in 4 rows, and they the 4 front people get it, and they get one poop and they bring it back, and whoever has the most, whatever team has the most at the end, of course wins the Tootsie Roll. That's cute. But we tell them that it's important that they pick up the poop after their pet, because if they don't pick it up after their pet, then it gets into our streams and our lakes and rivers, because we don't have a sewer system in Paulding County.
There, it doesn't look like. Alright, circle around. Oh, there you go. Alright, looking around, Zoe. That's the one. That was
That means there was 2 groups that found 3. Let me have all the pickers back real quick.
Mama, come get with us too.
Because no one is a loser at Paulding Beautiful.
That's right.
The group that won gets 2 Tootsie Rolls, and the 2 groups that didn't find but 2 get 1 Tootsie Roll.
All I know, I was in the group that found 2.